Welcome back to the Triple Thread podcast. I'm Lamar.
And I'm Joey.
And we are welcoming our VIP, very important podcaster, Miss Marquita Turner.
Yeah, we're goofy. We're a little goofy.
I'm scared.
Welcome, Marquita, or as I call her, Marquita. And welcome, Mrs. Marquita Turner. We're grateful you're here. We are so thankful for us just getting the time tonight to hear about your, it's exciting life. I mean, she is an Edgewood Cougar. We know that. So we'll let her tell you when she graduated. I won't ask her that question. She may divulge that. But we'll talk about that and just kind of growing up, Marquita, and kind of where life took you. And so we'd like for you to just dive in and tell us a little bit more about you.
Oh, my goodness. When you're my age, that can be a lot of conversation. I went to Edgewood High School, grew up in Trenton, which was an awesome community, great childhood. It was fantastic. And it was 1984 that I graduated.
Okay.
I was get it out there.
We're all pretty close
Yes,
then. We're all close.
1984.
Okay.
That's right. Yes, I know I'm a little older than you two.
Scotch.
Just a
smidge.
Yes. We were in high school at the same time. So.
I should have graduated, for the record. I should have graduated 85.
Yeah.
But I was held back. So it was
Not surprising.
It was
Not surprising.
it was 86. So, and I often remind Marquita, we have a thing here at Baraka called First Friday, and she has resisted First Friday. It started out retirees, and she's not retired. She's going to tell us about that. But it kind of started out older, but we've dropped the number to like 55. She's resisting. She's not coming to First Friday.
Quick funny story. I was getting that text, and I texted him back and said, "Hey, I am not a senior citizen." And whoever sends the text was like, "You're in that age group." I'm like, "I don't want to be on this list."
Yeah.
I'm not
I
ready.
reported it to spam.
I'm not ready for this list. Did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I love it.
I will not.
Yeah.
I am
Take me
not
off of
giving
this
it.
list.
That's right.
Yeah. But you grew up 84 graduate. What'd you do in high school? Were you a cheerleader, softball player, volleyball player?
I was three season sports.
Whoa.
So anytime there was from volleyball to tennis to basketball.
Oh my goodness.
Trying to think if there's anything else I played. Soccer wasn't a thing back then.
Okay.
It was not.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
Hadn't made it to the U.S.
All right.
At least in the high schools.
All right.
But always involved in teams. And, kind of the whole concept of triple thread, it was, I got energy from just belonging to groups of people.
Community.
Yeah, community.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So it was great growing up.
Yeah. So from Edgewood High School, kind of take us down your career path, well accomplished in nursing, but kind of how did that come about? What your love for maybe medicine, or what drew you to the thought of becoming a nurse?
Growing up, I was always attracted to the medical shows and the police shows.
Oh, yeah.
And I was not real keen on guns, so I thought I'd better opt for the medical shows.
Okay.
And do you guys remember Squad 51?
Oh, absolutely.
Johnny Gage?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that dates us, right?
It does. It does. Dixie McCall, and she still wore a cap.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to be a nurse.
Wow.
And so that was, never really thought more about it, and graduated from high school and went to Mom.
Yep.
Experienced the ham and cheese sandwiches.
Whoa!
She listens.
I listen.
Absolutely.
I listen. Yes.
I'm impressed.
Yes.
It's
from the
it is
comments.
special.
Yes.
Yes.
Marquita, what was it about the ham and cheese? I mean, what,
The butter.
there it is.
The fake butter, right?
Fake
It wasn't
butter.
real butter.
Just margarine.
Yeah, they just poured it on the
Country
grill.
crocker.
And just, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's so funny.
So
Yeah.
Mom, wow.
Yeah. So I was only there for one class to get my English out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
so
didn't do the nursing program there.
No, they didn't have a nursing program
It's
there.
was a good program. I don't know if it still is.
Yes, they do graduate excellent nurses.
My daughter-in-law was a product of that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you're there for just English at Mom?
Just English, and then I went in the fall to Kettering College of Medical Arts, where I did a 2-year degree in nursing, and I thought I will never go back to school again. I wanted to get out, make money, get in the in the workforce.
Yeah.
And but God had other plans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So after I graduated, I spent early year in doing some critical care work, and then I was always impressed when the emergency department would bring me patients, and it's like, it seems like they have a lot of fun down there in the ER, and I was just really intrigued.
Oh, wow.
And I actually was, it was back in the days in the late 80s when you could not graduate from nursing school and go straight into the emergency department or go straight into a critical care area. You had to kind of earn your stripes in like a med-surg environment.
Wow.
But at Middletown Regional, I happened to have a connection with one of the nursing supervisors who knew me from working at Kettering, and she said, "You know what? I know you. I'm going to give you a chance." And I got to work what's called PRN in the emergency department at Middletown, and
You were hooked.
and I was hooked. And so
Immediately.
immediately, and I thought, this is going to be my entire life. I will die in the emergency department. That's what I'm planning to do, and I loved it.
What was it? I mean, obviously, for those who have never been in and around the emergency room, like you've watched it on TV or movie, what was it, do you think, that was like, this is the best? Was it the chaos?
I love chaos, and while it may seem chaotic to other people, it's very organized chaos. And you work with the team, again, working with a group of people, a community, that you're all thinking alike, you know how processes are supposed to work. You know the protocols we have, and so it's well orchestrated, even though it looks like chaos.
Yeah.
I've always heard that burnout rate in ER is really high and people don't last long. What was it for you? Why did it work for you?
Oh gosh,
Is that true?
Touch of crazy.
Is it true?
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Yes.
Okay.
Healthcare burnout is a real thing, very real thing. I think self-care is also a real thing, and I don't think that we have been allowed to exhibit. It's considered weakness if we say, "Oh, I need some self-care," or I need to take care of myself, or I can't, mentally cope with this right now.
Society.
That's considered, yes, it's a
Society.
stigma. So I think that contributes to a lot of the burnout.
Yeah.
Do you think, Marquita, I wonder, just because recently taking part in being asked to be a part of a peer support team for Butler County, I sense that different departments, whether first responding in police or fire, or even maybe more medical, do you see kind of a crack there in just the opportunity, or do you see people recognizing and realizing that health and wholeness is so vitally important, especially for first responders? And do you think people are like, okay, we need to take a look at this, and we need to really accept that it's a real thing, and we need to do everything we can to save those people who are trying to save others?
Right. And I would agree with that. And I think that was one of the positive things that came out of COVID.
Yes.
Mental health became much more acceptable to talk about.
Yes.
And so I think people are more willing to admit, hey, I need help with that, or I need a timeout.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting too. We had a conversation in COVID time. I don't know if you remember this, Marquita, but I called and I said, hey, I've got this suspicion. I wonder if there's any research being done right now on, because at that point, our world was so upside down. People didn't know, so frenzied, but we talked about this psychosis for people going into hospitalization. And at that time, hospitals were locked down, and you lived it full well. But I remember asking Marquita, is this a possibility that there is people going into hospitalization, their family can't be there, and they only know strangers? Could there be some type of level of psychosis going on with these people? Because I got multiple calls, one call in particular I'll never forget. And I had a friend, and he was literally, he was losing his mind. Do you think, do you remember having that conversation?
Yeah.
And do you think there could be some componentry to that thought that you don't know anybody, and you're kind of like, where am I? Kind of in this dream world in sequence?
And just being scared. There was, depending on what you're admitted for, part of holistic care, it's not just about the medicines that we provide or the specialists that come and see you or the therapy that you get. It's about that support, that emotional support as part of that healing process too. And when you don't have people around you that that love you, that's a significant setback, and that can do a lot to the mind. So I don't know if there's been research done on that, but I think we witnessed it. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's part of that isolation we talk about.
Right.
Joe, when we talk about this isolation and not being around people that we need to be around and being loved and being touched and there's affection, that's a big deal. But out of COVID, go back to that, some we would always say, oh man, but there were some very good things that came out of that incredible tribulation moment of COVID. And one of those, like to your point, say that again, some good things happened.
Yeah, definitely. Just one other positive, when you look at the busyness of our schedules, using healthcare as the example, we have become very accustomed to remote work and using a Teams platform to have meetings. Yeah. So you're not rushing to get into your office at a certain time. You could be more flexible, which supports that self-care and things of that nature. So, I think experiencing COVID, just the appreciation for what we call normal now after what we went through and how we learned to be really nimble and make quick decisions, even though, we didn't have all the information, but did the best that we could. We got a lot better at that.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
So I think there were good things.
I think as I look back on those times too, for us, the church was closed and there was, several Sundays where our family kind of enjoyed things that we wouldn't normally enjoy on a Sunday, and you look back, even in those times of life that are so uncertain, you're like, hey, but we came back together and with this kind of model of hospital, which is amazing because my late father, Marquita, would often say this, and I think he understood what he was saying, but I don't think he understood that he was being prophetic in what he was saying. And he would often say, Baraka is a hospital. Baraka is a hospital. Baraka is a hospital. And I think what's amazing is when I think I was in a hospital yesterday, I was in a hospital today. I happen to be visiting. I've been in 3 hospitals. I've been in 3 hospitals in 2 days.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah. So 2 to visit, 1 to pick up prescriptions for Ellie. But those were 3. 1 was Children's Hospital, 1 was University of Cincinnati, 1 was the Atrium Medical Center. And before I get any further, my good friend, pastor friend, just came through an experience at the Atrium, which is part of the Premier Network. You know a little bit about the Premier Network, right,
Marquita?
We'll talk more about that. But my friend went through a hip replacement. He's a pastor. He's a great man, Matt Holman. And here's what he said. I said, how was your experience? He goes, it was phenomenal. Here's what he said. It's my favorite hospital. I want to have everything done at that hospital.
At Atrium?
At Atrium. And so I'm like, and every time that I've been in there, I ask people, I've had great experience. There's no perfect hospitals, just like there's no perfect churches. But he said from the beginning, this was great because I preempted him. He said, hey, I'm having, who's doing your hip? Dr. Davis. I'll go, oh, you're going to love Dr. Davis. You're going to love his mohawk. But you're going to be amazed. He's going to want to pray with you. And he's like, what? So yeah, I said, yeah. And kind of walked down that road, and he's a gifted surgeon. And so he comes in, and I know this from other people. He will say, I am offering this. If you would like, I'm offering to pray with you. Now, this orthopedic doctor who is, phenomenal, understands and realizes that, there's a physician in there with guiding. And so he said to my friend, he said, hey, I'm offering to pray with you if you want that. And he goes, let's go. Pray over me. And he prayed, and then he said, thank you. And by the way, I'm a pastor.
That's so good.
But isn't that great?
That is awesome.
And he had an incredible experience. He goes, the people were so kind, so So shout out Premier and take us to where you are today. Because I mean, this emergency, this ED nurse, I want to be here. I don't want to leave the ED. Mm-hmm. Some things happen. It's like, okay, I'm going to work my way. And you have worked your way into some amazing God-sized areas of hospital administration. So take us down that road, kind of that process.
That journey. Well, I often get asked either to mentor or to share what my career path has been. And I am probably the perfect example of how you don't do a career path, which you can always learn from,
Sure.
What not to do. Well, and the reason I say that is because in my 40 years in this business, I've only interviewed for 2 jobs. And so I've always been content where I was. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in the emergency department, I was a bedside nurse. Then
how was your bedside manner, Marquita, if I might ask?
I never had any patients complain.
There you go. There you go.
I bet it was good.
There you go.
I bet it was good.
Unless it was you I was taking care of, which, it's like, it's him. He doesn't count.
We can't break HIPAA, can we? No,
well, if you're in the room.
Yeah. Was I in behavioral? No, we'll go there.
We won't go there.
Yeah. So only 2 times that you interviewed.
Right.
That's crazy.
So before you get into that, I'm just going to say, if you only interviewed twice, and I know the position that you're holding now, that tells me that people were coming after you.
I was approached to consider other positions and getting me way out of my comfort zone, because I'm very comfortable at the bedside. I'm very comfortable, as a team lead in the emergency department. I'm an introvert. I know it's hard to believe, but it is like I'll go home tonight and I'll be exhausted.
Yeah.
Just from
after this interview,
it's
your day.
It's like midnight.
Can relate.
Shout out midnight. Thank you, Marquita, for coming in at midnight.
At midnight, yeah,
it's close.
Right.
And we are getting older. All right, I didn't say she. We are getting.
We
older.
are
getting older.
Getting older.
Yes. So that hour comes earlier, but I was always comfortable in what I was doing. So I was never actually out looking for a job or trying to plot out my career. So that's why I say I'm kind of the example of what not to do if you're aspiring to get a different role. But I'm a firm believer of doing the job that you're paid to do it well. And fortunately for me, I think it allowed other people to notice maybe that I might be qualified for other things. And so one thing led to another, and I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, I thought all of my career I would still be somehow connected with the emergency department as a manager, as a director. That was kind of what I really liked until I had a chief nursing officer was moving to Columbus, and she came to my office to tell me when I was director of the ED, and she said, "Marquita, you could do this job." And I'm thinking, no, there's no, I don't know that I could. And I thought more about it, and I thought, I have nothing to lose. Why not interview? If I don't get the job, I still love what I do.
Right.
And so, lo and behold, that was what I would say, when I say I interviewed twice in my career, that was the second time, but that second experience put me through a panel of 10 different interviews. So, because everybody had to have their say of who was going to be the next chief nursing officer at the time. So, but where I ended up landing there, and that was a whole new world and a lot more to learn from the inpatient perspective. Even though I had done inpatient nursing, it's different at that level. But then I did that for a few years, and the CEO at the time was Mike Ewell, and I think you might have met him.
I did.
Yeah. He
delight to meet him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was moving on to the Valley, and so he ended up being the CEO at Miami Valley Hospital, and he said, Marquita, I would love to work with you again someday, so, keep an open mind. I thought, yeah, sure, Mike, I will miss you, but, still within Premier, so we'll stay connected. And it was about 18 months later, and he called me, and he said, what do you think about moving to Miami Valley South Campus as their COO? And I'm like, oh, gosh, I loved Atrium, a beautiful hospital, and this community is so blessed to have that resource here. I loved my boss at the time, our CEO. But I thought, you know what? It seems like God has always put me in a path where it's very regimented, and He clearly has a way of prompting me to say, okay, Marquita, it's time. You're comfortable now. It's time to move on. Mm-hmm. So I did. I took the chance, went to South Campus, and that was the tail end of COVID. That was the January of 21. And so, acclimating to not knowing anybody all over again, what phone number do you dial for, anything that you need, just getting to know a whole new team. And so that lasted 2.5 years maybe. Yeah. And then I got another call. So I'm going to stop answering the phone. Maybe that's what stops this. So, but this was really exciting when you think of that organized chaos and all of that. But kind of a long story short, ended up making a transition as the Chief Operating Officer of the Miami Valley campuses. So prior to my role, each campus had their own Chief Operating Officer. And it kind of, it worked, but when you're looking at systemizing and creating a unified approach, kind of having leadership unified helps kind of promote that type of culture. So I ended up in that scenario where I have the 3 campuses at Miami Valley, and we just have an awesome team, and it's been so much fun the last 3 years or so.
So your new title is like COO overall, or what is your title now that you hold? I mean, what is it?
It's Chief Operating Officer of Miami Valley Hospital. Wow. So, which is all 3 campuses. We're under one provider number, so it's
that
one,
would
one
be
hospital.
What are the 3 hospitals? Name them.
It's Miami Valley Hospital North Campus.
Okay.
Miami Valley Hospital Main Campus.
Okay.
And then Miami Valley Hospital South Campus.
South Campus. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So you started with a 2-year degree.
I had to go back to school.
I was going to say, you obviously went to RN, so you
Yeah.
went back for 2 more years.
Yeah.
What you're sharing there, I just keep thinking process. You're focused on the process. You're not chasing anything. You're not worried about the big picture. But by focusing on that and doing your job and excelling at your job, because that's just who you are, look where you're at.
I think what's interesting, too, is, and we're getting ready to go to break, I think it's also that faithful in the field. There's a principle that God showed me a long time ago. It was David who was faithful in the field. He never knew on that day when his father was just asking him to go check on his brothers and deliver cheese. So he was the pizza delivery guy, just checking on his brothers. Yeah. He would have never believed that he was going to fight the giant on that day. But here's what's amazing. Before he left to go check on his brothers, he made sure that the flock that he was responsible for was taken care of. And God showed me a principle years ago. If you'll be faithful in the field, I know exactly where you are at all times, and it's my job to move you where I want you to be. And so I think it's a credit, obviously, to your work. It's a credit to your heart. And we're going to come back and learn more about Marquita. And we're going to talk to her. I'm going to ask her some questions about, without breaking HIPAA, like, take us to a crazy day in the emergency department. So take us to break, Joe.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about your faith and how that's kept you anchored through also. So we'll be right back, folks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Triple Thread podcast. We are so grateful that you have spent the time to share this time with us. From Joe and I and our producer, Zach, and all that make this happen, we can't thank you enough. Also, shout out to Sandy Snowden. Wow, my assistant who keeps my life running well. Thank you so much, Sandy. Listen, if you want to learn more about community, all you have to do is type in realcommunityforyou.com. It's realcommunity, the number 4, the letter U.com, and you'll be shown some opportunities for you to be a part of community. On our website, not only the Triple Thread podcast, but a way that you can, if you feel that you'd like to be a part of this, a way that you can financially help us and support this, we would so greatly appreciate it. Another thing is, too, the Dirty Big Secret, a book that was written and published last year, is an opportunity for you to pick up my memoir. I believe it will encourage you, and it will take you to a place where you realize that community is such a part and a need for our life. So Dirty Big Secret is available. You can click that link to go to Orange Fraser Press, my publisher, and purchase that. It'll be mailed to you, or you can pick it up at a Baraka location near you. Thanks again for tuning in, listening, wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much. Let's get back to our podcast.
Let's go. Let's hear about that crazy day. The most memorable, craziest day that you've had in the ER. Is there one that stands out?
One that stands out?
It was probably, there's a few, but probably the one that I would share that comes to mind tonight is, there's probably two. One of them was, it was around probably 1 or 2 in the morning, and I got a phone call that there had been a Greyhound bus crash.
Oh my!
And so you start making phone calls. At that hour of the day, because you're staffing in the ER, you start out a little leaner, and then you ramp up your staffing as volume does, as your ED visits do. So at that hour, typically people have either gone home or you're running on your core group. Mm-hmm. So made several phone calls, and of course everybody, and that's the team that we had, was, yes, I'll be there. I'm on my way, and we showed up. And I remember walking into the set of the EMS entrance and into the trauma bay, and we had 4 trauma rooms lined up, and everybody was gowned, ready to receive whatever was coming at them. It was just, going back again to that team, that community, those people that are just trained in doing what they do. And at that hour of the night, with as lean, and just seeing people willing to show up, for that mission. So that was probably, I would say, maybe one of my more proud moments of just people willing to show up and take care of, one right after the other of the patients that we were receiving. The second one that comes to mind was an unfortunate situation with a van carrying some children that had an encounter with a train. And so, this community having a level 3 trauma center right here, just, a couple miles east, nothing to be taken for granted, and just being able to receive those patients. But the complexity of all of that care, and then getting a call from triage that we had a pediatric patient that was in an arrest. And I remember standing in the nurse's station as they were, bringing a patient back, and thinking, it was like the movies. It's like, what's happening here? It's almost like that out-of-body experience. It's like, that challenge of what next? But through the professionals that are there in the response, and, just that, how we're trained to take care of patients, it does go like clockwork. But those are kind of 2 scenarios. While it wasn't like a crazy day, it's episodic, where you think there's just not enough of you to go around. Right. So you're prioritizing and, just thinking of, okay, what's next, and keeping things moving. And then sometimes it's just your typical day, where flu season, where it's not that anybody's critical, but you've just got a lot of patients to see, and people don't like to wait.
No.
And so, you're dealing with some of those frustrations of just waiting. And those are a few examples.
I'd love to hear just one patient story, obviously no names, that's really impacted you. Just one patient that stands out that, like, wow.
And while you're thinking about that, I'm reminded of the old Atrium Hospital, where I had an interesting...
The old one.
Yeah. That before it moved. Yeah. And Marquita, you may remember, there was an unfortunate situation that took place that night. From what I remember, there was an elderly man that was hit, and before you knew it, I mean, the city was just really ablaze. And I remember a lot of family members coming in that night and into the emergency department, and it was getting really dangerous and really chaotic. And I remember Dr. Nicely basically saying, this emergency department is shut down now. Everybody, and so I remember it was a tense. It was a tense situation, but that was way back, and that seems like so many years ago. But really, moving off the hill hasn't been as long as we think, right?
I think that was, I want to say 2007.
I remember it so vividly.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday.
Where we had our babies.
Yeah. A patient story. That's a great question, Joe, for Marquita.
You know, I would say, you know, over the years, you have patients that stick with you, like no matter how long you're going to remember that patient. This one happened. It was early in my career, and I remember it was again in the middle of the night, and we heard on our scanner, and I was working for another health system at the time, but I heard on the scanner that there was a house fire that was in Kettering. And that it was fully engulfed, and that there were children involved. Wow. And we ended up receiving a pediatric and an adult, but the pediatric patient did not survive that. And, you know, what goes along with being a victim of a fire, and, you know, just... You know, I can still see her today, you know, what she looked like, and just, you know, the tragedy of all of that. And then just some of the circumstances behind the fire leads to a lot of emotion, and, you get frustrated because so many things can be prevented. But you kind of have to work through all of those emotions. You know, it kind of goes back to what we talked about, that burnout, that mental health, you know, keeping yourself, you know, in a good spot to be able to continue to care for people like that. But I would say that probably stands out in my from my emergency department career, is I would say that one little girl.
You've seen a lot of great doctors. I mean, you've seen a lot of great nurses. I think I've said this often. I think nurses really don't get a lot of the credit that they deserve.
They deserve
it. And I mean, Marquita, I don't know if you want to amen that, but
yes.
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 But true, but there is a need for both. You've met a lot of great doctors, but Marquita, in your life, and I would say this, I've met a lot of great doctors. I've had incredible care from a lot of great doctors. In fact, I'm at the atrium quite a bit in my continued scans with my bladder, and blessed to have a great urologist, and also Dr. Okoye and Dr. Walsh. Shout out my docs, and Dr. Stone, another premier. So it's like and I'm blessed, and I know a lot of great docs. But I'd say the greatest physician that I've ever met is the one that changed my life forever. And Marquita, as a COO of a hospital, we say the BRAC is a hospital. We're running out of time, but just kind of tell the audience how important that greatest physician is to you.
Well, I mean, it's everything, right? I attribute, he's the reason why I'm here. He has blessed me in so many ways through my 60 years. There's not enough time on a podcast to share that.
Right.
The only regret that I have is that when I became a Christian at the age of, and I'm guessing I was 12 to 14, because I remember the time, but I don't remember the date and all of that.
Same.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I remember that's about when it was. But at that time, there was no mentoring. There was no, I was never offered baptism. There was no growth in that journey. Discipleship, that's the word. Yes.
We're the same. Right?
Yes. Fine.
We're the same. Yes. We are the same.
Yeah.
And so then you fast forward to, from all of those years.
No incubator.
Yeah. Yes. And so there's that gap of all those years lost that I could have been living differently.
Sure.
And so I have regret for that, but I can't dwell on it. But what I can do, I think, is is take my experience and make sure I can do what I can that others don't experience the same thing. So that when we have
That's so
people
good.
that come through our hospital here at Baraka,
That's so good.
that, it's not a one and done, count you as a number and then we move on.
Just getting started.
Getting started, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Marquita, if we left this podcast without me being able to say this to you and to the audience, it would really, I think, fall short. And I'm forever grateful that God would bring you and Jeff into my life and Mary Ann's life and our family's life for a number of reasons. I mean, Jeff is one of our elders, and it's funny that the elders' wives get together and a lot, and they have a they have a name. You want to tell them the name?
We're the Holy Hotties.
The Holy Hotties.
I love it.
They get together, the wives get together, and we get to retreat together a couple times a year.
You need that.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I remember the darkest time of my life, and I remember you. Yes, a medical professional. You and Jeff sitting with me, and you were asking me questions that needed to be asked. To make sure that I was going to be safe. And I want to kind of put you in that frame of mind, Joe. That's somebody loving their shepherd enough to really ask some questions that needed to be asked.
And most people won't.
No. And so, part of that oath that is taken, do no harm. And Marquita and Jeff were there truly in my darkest moments, and God would use them really to help see me through and see me out of those dark moments. So I don't think I say it enough, but God used you powerfully, wonderfully, and continues to in our lives. And so we're forever grateful for that. And thank you for being that, not only that medical help, but as a sister in Christ. That's huge. That's huge. And I was thinking as we wrap this up, and these times always go quick, I was thinking as we wrap this up, if I were trying to put myself in Marquita's shoes, knowing what I know a little bit about, because being in and around the emergency department, and I've often wondered if I would have gone the medical route. I think I could have seen myself as an emergency doc, but then I'm like, but wait a minute, I love people so much. So it would have been probably that, because as an ED doc, you're just you don't have return patients. Most of the time.
Oh, yes, you do.
Well, you do, but you know what I mean.
They're looking for something else, though, probably.
But you don't carry on like a family doc or a general doc. So, but I love chaos. I think it's interesting. You love chaos. I love chaos. We love police shows. We love medical. We're both born in November. I don't know. Great.
We both
babies.
have different names.
We both have very
names.
different.
One's a guy, one's a gal.
Brother, sister. Right.
So
So when people hear your name and they hear my name, they probably think that we are a little bit different color, maybe. Yeah. Right. But
nationality, maybe.
But people remember that. I just think this as we wrap this up, I'm going someplace with this, because I'm like, if I were Marquita and like I am in a position now to where you're doing all this administrative work and all this, there would have to be a day where you're like, I just would like to go back just for one day and be dropped, maybe not, be dropped right in the middle of a chaotic situation in the emergency department and see how I would fare. Am I close to being right on that?
It's not just one day. I often say, you know what? I joke to see if some of the managers will save me a position. If all else fails, I'll just go back. But what would trip me up is the electronic medical record. I'm a paper girl. So it was...
Still?
Well, that it doesn't exist anymore.
Right. There is no paper.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's what,
I gotcha.
The rest of it would be like riding a bike, but it's like, where do I document?
Right. So the paperwork and that electronic would be tough. But as far as nursing and stuff, I mean, it's like riding a bike, I would think. You would just jump right in there and you would feel the adrenaline. I think it's really interesting because I know your mom and I know your dad. And I love them. They're just incredible people. We're getting to enjoy time with them. They're coming to church and it's just swell and wonderful. And I think what's unique, you have a father who was just a hard-working, providing man for his family, worked at the mill. Then you got a mom who so many people knew from Sears. She was the lady at Sears selling all the equipment. Like, as long as I knew her, oh yeah, Gordon and Pat, man, that's Gordon, But here's what's crazy. So Marquita and her brother are in the medical field. And I'm like, okay, what does a steel worker, hard worker, and a Sears sales lady, they produced two incredible kids who ended up in the medical field. Have you ever thought, what's going on there?
Well, my mom, even when I was in high school, she said, you're going to be a nurse. So she told me that's what I was going to, and I didn't argue because I agreed. If she said something else, I'm sure I would have argued. But yeah, it is interesting that, and I was first generation college also in my family, and so
me too.
Yeah,
me too.
So we're paving the way.
Do you tell your brother that often? That you beat him to that?
Beat him to. Well, he reminds me that I'm older all the time. Yes.
Wiser.
Yes. Older and wiser. Yes. And we actually worked together for a period of time, which was a hoot. I actually got to maybe appreciate him a little more.
Yeah.
And what
gifted in what he does, man. Well respected. He was at the Atrium for so many years. So
smart.
Yeah. Brilliant mind. So. Yeah. Marquita, it's been a fun time. It's been wonderful to listen to what God has done in your life. You still remain faithful, man. She's still a part of this hospital, not only the COO at
3 campuses.
3 campuses.
Just saying.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's impressive.
COO at 3 campuses, and guess what? Baraka, that's right. We're looking at our 3rd campus. So there you go.
You do have so much in common.
Yeah, Marquita, we're excited.
Just go with it.
Go with it. And amazed with how God's used you and Jeff and your family, and to see your family and see your grandbaby, and you got another grandbaby coming, and see your daughter who's gifted, and your son-in-law. It's wonderful. Joe, take us out of this podcast.
Thank you so much for this. This was wonderful. I really enjoyed this. You showed us you can lead with excellence and still have a big heart.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
That's good.
So folks, just subscribe, share. We appreciate you being here. In the show notes, you'll have the podcast link. You'll also have the website, Real Community for you. Yeah. Thank you for listening tonight.
Hey, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.